Inflation remains at a 40-year high. Prices on everything from food to housing are dramatically higher than they were before the pandemic.
The Fed raised interest rates again this week in an effort to combat inflation. This afternoon, the moderator of CBS's Face the Nation, Margaret Brennan, joins us live from D.C. to break down how this hike will impact Americans. Margaret, thank you so much for joining us. You'll speak to the president of the Federal Reserve Bank in Atlanta this weekend. What impact will these rising rates have on the average American?
Well, we want to speak to Raphael Bostic, who runs that Atlanta region, who really looks at the South and what's happening there to understand why the central bank is taking the direction it is to move as aggressively as they are to continue to raise interest rates. The premise is to cool off this very hot inflation by making it more expensive to borrow money to spend on things like houses. So this is the intent. The thing that the Fed cannot control are factors like the war in Ukraine by Russia and this recovery from the pandemic. So there's a lot at play here. And as you're looking at the financial markets under pressure and you're listening to bank CEOs warn that they are seeing reason to worry in the months ahead, it is indicating that the risk of recession really is out there. And we want to weigh that for consumers.
And Margaret, let's switch gears now and talk about the ongoing war in Ukraine. You're going to have the president of Ukraine on Face the Nation this weekend. What are you hoping to learn from him, and what is the latest on what's happening on the ground in Europe?
Well, this is an important conversation in a hugely consequential week for Ukraine. You have Vladimir Putin of Russia come out and say he's calling up reservists. He's dangling a nuclear threat, and he is staging what the U.S. is calling a sham referendum to try to take about 15% of Ukraine, lop it off, and claim that it's Russia. All of this appears to be an escalation. So while the West is calling for the war to come to a swift end and for him to de-escalate, that's not at all what's happening. We want to talk to Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine to say, what do you need to end this conflict more quickly? Because not only are you seeing a huge amount of death and destruction in Ukraine and, of course, an impact on Europe, but it's affecting the global economic trajectory here. It's why you are also seeing increased food prices, increased energy prices, and food scarcity in places as far away as the African continent and South America. So this is really a global impact, and we want to talk to President Zelensky to understand what he needs to end this war soon.
We're looking forward to that, Margaret. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. You can watch CBS's Face the Nation every Sunday morning at 9:30 right here on Channel 6.